we can't avoid the fact that there's black tax.
We can't, yes.
And because your understanding about the concept black tax.
I don't like the term black tax per se, because black people are disadvantaged historically, for a number of reasons that we're fully aware of. And because of that, we constantly have to go back home and uplift our families, uplift our communities. And that's where the black tax term is sort of coming from. But from my perspective, it's just going back home and uplift your family members and making sure that everybody gets to be able to contribute in the economy.
This episode is actually sponsored by Joy Beverages.
Yes.
Listen, we have their brand in the studio today. We are sponsored by that. Let's cheers to this water.
Cheers to that.
This is Joy Beverage, proudly produced and made in South Africa. The one I'm having says be still. Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Unspoken Truth Season 2. So today's episode, I'm not so comfortable around this conversation. Money conversation takes me back to the song I was telling you about. Money,
Yes.
money, money, money. You know that song, yeah.
Yes,
it just takes me
we
back
all
to that.
do.
It's been actually playing in my head for free the whole day.
That's good.
Even when we spoke about how to coordinate our outfits for today,
Yes.
I was busy saying that song in the back of my head. I'm like, what's again? That song. It's just
it's
about
the one.
today. And I'm not comfortable about today's topic. Simply because there's just been a lot of things spoken about money.
Yes.
The concept of money, it's something that can I let me to no way I come from, but without lawyer. Without lawyer if you talk about money.
I've heard, yeah.
Chelete ke Satan. And then there is also a biblical verse which says, the love of money is the root of all evil.
True.
But also we can't avoid the fact that financial decision is a fundamental need in a household.
Absolutely.
Which structures how you and I have become.
Yes.
Structures how far a household or a family name can go.
True.
As a matter of fact, it has actually made us the women we are today.
True.
The topic of money.
Yes.
The ability to think about money. It even changes how you feel and how you behave when you have and when you don't have money.
That's true.
One of the things that I've thought of when I was actually thinking about today's topic was that money has had the potential of even depriving us of certain opportunities that we could have accessed. But anyway, let me not get ahead of myself about this. As you can see, I'm sitting with my lovely guest over here. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It makes sense.
Truly, I'm a little bit uncomfortable about this conversation, but it is the unspoken truth that needs to be spoken about, right? Let me introduce my guest to you, ladies and gentlemen. She is an accountant by profession, and she's also a property investor. And I love the fact that beyond you being a professional accountant, you're extremely passionate about sharing your knowledge with the people about financial literacy. You're more like an advocate for that.
Yes.
Welcome on our show, Janet Shabangu.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for honoring my invite.
It's a pleasure.
And I am so glad that you said yes. But you always say yes. Every
Of
time we call you
course.
Sister Skippers, you were part of our panelists last year.
Yes, I think I'm part of the family now.
You know what? No need to even sign any membership form.
Yes, that's
But
true.
Janet, I can't help to wonder how your upbringing has been, especially because you're so passionate about financial literacy.
I am.
But and knowing you coming from, you said you come from Davidson, and I'm like, okay, from Davidson, financial literacy advocate and accountant. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing in relation to money too.
So I grew up just like most of South African young people or South African citizens. I grew up in a single parent household where my mom was a breadwinner and she was a domestic worker. So you can imagine automatically by virtue of her being a domestic worker, it means money is strained. Money is definitely strained. And I am one of 5 children that she had. I've got 4 siblings, 2 older sisters and 2 younger brothers. So you can imagine it's a handful. So every time when you need to think about what's required at school, things like school trips, we never attended that because it's 5 of us. And this woman is a domestic worker. Where is she going to get the money? So growing up and seeing the situation at home, that sort of drove me as well, that when I grow up, I want to be a bit better when it comes to finances. And just like most South Africans, I wanted to be out of poverty. And that was a driver for me to be committed in finances, aside from me being an accountant by passion, but also about money. So that was the driver for me, that I want to be out of poverty. And what's the best way to be out of poverty? You have to talk about money. You have to be financially aware. You have to be financially savvy. And that's where it came about.
So you're growing up in this household with 4 siblings. Your mother's a domestic worker.
Yes.
Of course, finances are a scarce resource.
100%.
Money is a scarce resource in that household. What was a turning point for you in terms of experience that started creating a need to say, I want to have a healthy financial relationship?
So the starting point for me, I would say, like many other young professionals or young people who just started working, this is your first time earning a salary. And believe me, at 19.
Yes.
And it seems like a lot of money. And it's really not a lot of money. Now that I think about it, it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it seemed like you have a lot of money. And I think the biggest trap that I fell into, which I would believe most young people fall into, is the thing about credit. You can't get a car, you can't get a credit card, you can't get anything that has to do with credit if you don't have a credit score. So for you to build up a credit score, you need to open a couple of accounts, right? To be able to have a credit score.
A trick, though.
It is a trick because that's how the system is wired right now. You can't go and buy a car using credit or buy a bond. Using credit if you don't have a credit history. So you need to go and build that credit history for you to be respected, or for you to be trusted rather, with money, so that they can see that you are a trusted person. Do you pay your accounts on time? What type of a consumer are you when it comes to debt?
So basically, all right, because I had a problem as well. When I was trying to see if I can qualify for a car and for a house, when I started working as well, I didn't have accounts. I'm one person, I grew up without accounts. My dad was a cash man.
Same,
so he was like, listen, cash every day, all the way. And I was told that, no, you don't have credit history or credit record.
True.
And I was told to go and open a clothing account.
Yes.
One of the things I hate. And I did not understand the concept behind it.
Yes.
But now that you're saying it, it's clarifying my confusion. Or I needed to show them my relationship with having a debt, on whether I'll be able to carry this debt accordingly as per the contract.
Correct. So that's how it started. I had to open an account, and one account became 2 accounts, and 2 accounts became 3 accounts. I mean, I'm 19, turning 20. I've never had any conversation about money. I've never had the freedom of buying clothes now and pay later. It sounds exciting, right?
Take
now and pay later. It sounds really exciting because you're like, I don't have money now, but I'm going to get paid later, so I can pay later. And that's how it happened. So I ended up finding myself in this debt of accounts that was not good for me. I was starting to get frustrated because every now and then I'd be called, when are you going to pay your account? Because I kept taking clothes. I'm going to pay later. And that for me was a turning point. I knew then at some point that, you know what, this can't be the life for me. This cannot be how I live. I need to be open with my finances. I need to have an open conversation with myself and do better with my finances. And that was the turning point for me.
It's so funny that we come from families that talks about almost everything.
Yes.
And we, especially in the Black community, we've grown to be a community that shares most of the things that are happening in our life. You know who's married to who, divorced who, what's happening in that household, whether banally chalete or not. But one of the important conversations that has the potential to change the whole lineage, even the future generation history, which is money conversation. We don't
Yes.
have that at
We
all.
don't. That's true.
What do you think is creating this mindset of not creating money conversations platforms in a household? I mean, you were 19, you got into debt, you had money, but you didn't understand how
Yes.
money is actually managed. And provided you had this conversation with your mother, who I truly believe was smart enough to raise 5 children on a very small paycheck. And I believe if you had a conversation with her, most probably it might have opened up your eyes a little bit on certain things.
Yes.
But what do you think it's creating this mindset? Don't talk about it. I know I said something earlier about the lawyer, and yeah, my grandmother used to say that a lot.
Yeah.
But truly, what do you think is the root cause of us not having these conversations?
It's a number of things, and one of them for me would be the curriculum that we have at school. We don't have any subject that talks about money or literature or financial literacy, rather. And I think that's where the biggest gap starts. You know, we don't have that type of conversations at school. And then coming back home, I mean, we grew up with parents where most of them were domestic workers, so they were not earning that much. And they were literally living from hand to mouth, you know. So they also didn't know much about money. So it's up to us now to have more conversation about money now that we are financially aware, now that we are financially savvy, and make sure that our kids and the next generation that comes is fully informed when it comes to financial literacy and make better decisions when it comes to money.
You know, when you're saying that, it just reminded me of a colleague of mine who once said she started teaching children about the value of money.
Yes.
So what she would do every time they go shopping, she would give them maybe 100 rand each. And to them, that is a lot of money.
True.
And when she says she started noticing a shift that now that they have their own money in their hand, when they get to a store, they start checking the price tag first before they purchase. And she realized that before then, when she used to be the one who pays for everything, they would just pick anything that comes to, you know, that attracts their eyes and stuff like that. And they never looked at the paycheck or, I mean, at the price tag. And that was one thing that I took. I'm like, I'm going to implement this at home. And also, she started, because she's got boys as well. She said she started teaching them the value of earning money, to know that, you know, it doesn't just come because you got a parent. And she would say, I'd give them chores like, okay, whoever washes my car. And they personally came to her with a schedule to say, Mommy, I'm going to wash your car on Monday. Then next week Monday, this one. So they started, you know, planning their lives so well. And I think that is, it can be the start of us literally having financial literacy conversation about
That's
it.
true.
And I truly concur with what you're saying, that our education system needs to change. We need to start nurturing and guiding adults, because we are raising adults, future adults, you know, and we can't be thinking these are going to be children forever. At some point they're going to be 19.
Look at us now.
And need to create an credit record and more debts, right? You see, there is this notion that money is never enough, right? And I speak personally from trauma. I think I've got childhood traumas with this statement. Money is never enough, and we're constantly looking for more ways to make money, to multiply money. And there's a word for it, extra money, what do you call extra income streams? That you must always have extra income streams. I remember there was one guy who once said, no, you must have 7 income streams. And it's like we for me, it's as if there's never enough. And when does the feeling and the practice of contentment starts, where you are like, I've got this, it is enough. And of course there's a need for multiplying it, but just that feeling of satisfaction seems to lack when we talk about money. What do you think brings about this thinking?
So but remember that we're living in an economy that's constantly revolving. So in economics, 'cause I did economics at some point in my life, there's a term about that that says that human needs are never ending. So what you want today is not going to be the same with what you're going to want in the next 2, 3 years. And that's just how it is. Because as humans, as we grow, as we evolve, we want more and more and more. But however, I feel like there is a way to make sure that you've got a sustainable income by making sure that you have a passive income of some sort. I don't know about having 7 streams of income because when do you get to
I
rest?
was
You
like,
know,
yo, I'm not even
when
on
do you get to
5.
rest?
I mean, I'm poor, bro.
I think for me, yeah, same. I think for
Yes.
me, the best way to go about it is to make sure that you have enough savings and investment that are going to keep generating some income that is above the inflation rate. Because the biggest problem that we have is the inflation. So the pricing for everything constantly rising. So because of the rising due to inflation, that's how it feels like whatever you earn now may not be enough later in the year or next year and so forth and so forth.
You know, one of the things that made me uncomfortable about the money conversation was the jargon.
Yes.
And when you're saying inflation, I'm like, hey, inflation. I think it's a whole, it's a whole. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are fearful because they feel
Yes.
like they're not educated enough. They feel like I need diploma. So going to
Yes.
these other restaurants nowadays, you have to pinch a screen there and you're realizing, hey, more I need computer studies before I can buy a piece of burger. But now, can you
Yeah.
just briefly tell us what is
Yes.
inflation rate?
So inflation, in the simplest term, I would say it's the rate in which everything is increasing. The price of food, the price of housing, all the basic needs that are increasing on a daily or monthly or quarterly basis due to politics, without getting into politics, because inflation is affected by everything that's happening in our country and outside of our country. So I think the simplest term that anyone who's at home is going to be watching, just know that it's the pricing that increase on a quarterly or on a daily basis that affects the price that you pay for bread. Because if you remember, at some point we were probably paying 5 rand for bread, 3 rand 20 for a loaf of bread, and now we're paying 20 rand or
Yeah.
even close to 20 rand. So
Yeah.
that is inflation. That increase in the pricing itself, it's inflation. If you think about housing, at some point you were able to get a house with 500,000.
Yes.
Now you need to have over 1 million, close to 2, 3, 4 millions to get a decent housing. That price increase is inflation. Yes. So you want to make sure that you make enough income to cover that inflation increase that happens on a daily basis, basically, if we
Yeah.
can put it like
Yeah.
that. Yes, even though we get quarterly updates from the governor. Yeah.
So, growing up in a household where money is a scarce resource, in an environment or community, obviously, of most families viewing money as this is something we need. It's gas money.
Yes.
That's some of the things that our parents would say out
Yes.
of frustration because we didn't understand.
Yes.
What was your understanding of money growing up?
My understanding of money growing up is that you earn it and you spend it. That was my understanding.
So you had a car.
Yes. So without money, you're not going to have food on the table. That was my understanding of money, that you need to be able to make money to be able to get bread, to pay for school fees, to get this and that. So you basically need money. Money is like another source of a need to be able to get by on a daily basis.
You know, honestly speaking, when I said that, for me, it forces me to dive into my childhood traumas.
Yes.
I grew up extremely fortunate. I never went to bed hungry. My parents worked tirelessly. Like, they were amazing parents. They
Yes.
ensured that we have enough in the house. And that, as good as it was,
Yes.
it created a fear in me to live a life where there is no money.
Oh, gosh.
And talking about not resting, it's one of the things I've had to deal with.
Yes.
Where I'm fatigued because I'm working so much. You know me,
I
I've got,
know.
I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
I look for business opportunities
Uh-huh.
wherever I go. And
Yes.
that can be a bit exhausting because it's almost as if I'm never relaxed and in a space of, oh no, now I've got enough. And I feel like I would never feel like I've got enough.
Yes.
And now that I'm a parent, it's even worse. I
Yes.
always think about my children 10, 20 years from now. And the hugest, if there's such a word, hugest, a
Yes.
huge concern for me is what happens if I'm not here.
Yes.
Which brings me back to you mentioning the importance of investment. And I know you speak a lot about budgeting, budget. Like I see your Instagram updates all the time. You're like, listen, doesn't matter how good you are with your budgeting, if you don't get over your spending habits. I think that's one of the quotes.
Yes.
If you don't get over your spending habits, it's like you're not going anywhere.
Yes.
But I want us to speak about the budget and speak about savings and investment.
Yes.
Those three concepts. Can you just give us a light as to what each means? Because to us, I have money and I spend it.
So budgeting is basically putting order into your finances, telling your money where to go and where not to go. That's what budget essentially does. Because you would draw up your monthly expenditures and you would say, this is where my money is going and this is where my money is not going. So it sort of puts a direction to your monthly income so that you know where your money is going, and where your money is not going. That's the simplest form I would say budget is, because without budget, it's easy to just keep spending. And before you know it, the money in your account is depleted, and payday is probably 2-3 weeks,
Debit orders are
and there's
bouncing.
still debit orders to be paid. So by making sure that you have a budget, make sure that you're covered for the 30-day period if you're getting income on a 30-day intervals, if it's 15 days intervals, if it's 60 days intervals. Just make sure you're covered and you tell your money where to go and where not to go up until the next cycle of getting money. That's the simplest form I would put budget to be.
Budgeting.
Yes.
You're literally ordering your money.
100%.
And
Yes.
sending it where it needs to go.
100%.
So you're the boss.
Yes,
All
you
right.
make those orders. This is where you're going. This is not where you're going. Yes.
All right. Fantastic. And savings.
Savings. So savings for me, I like to say you can't save your way to riches or wealth. It's just not possible because money loses value when it's sitting in your bank account. However, savings come in when you have emergencies. Because every now and then something happens with adulting. Every now and then something happens that you did not put in your budget, you were not aware of, you didn't see it coming whatsoever. It could be emergency that is health related. All of a sudden somebody's sick. All of a sudden you need a new tire. All of a sudden something
Child
is
sick.
yes,
and
or
it's
somebody
out
at
of
home.
medical aid
Exactly.
coverage.
Yeah. So savings for me, it's the funding that you save on a monthly basis, that funding account for those type of emergencies. It's not money that's gonna earn you any interest or money that's gonna earn you any investment in the future, but money that's there to make sure that when emergencies come, you don't use your credit card, because we're trying to run away from the credit card. We're trying to be as debt free as possible, knowing that we can never be 100% debt free if you don't earn a certain amount of money. So things like bond and a car, those are more likely what most people will take with debt. So you want to make sure that you avoid using your credit card to fund your lifestyle or for emergencies. And that's what a saving account is for, or emergency funding is for. That's what I prefer to call
Growing
it.
up, I was told you need to save money. Save
Yes.
money as much as you can.
Yes.
And I thought saving money is saving my life. And now
Partially.
that we're having this conversation, it's like, this is a harsh truth. My Bible has been busted. I'm 36 and only now I know that, saving money is not getting me rich.
I'm sorry.
And then you speak about investment. What is investment?
So investment is that money that you will not touch when emergency fund. When there's emergency, that's why you have your emergency funding. You don't touch that money. So investment is the type of money that you put away that will create or generate an income or interest for you. So it can be in a form of generating extra income for you on a monthly basis. For an example, like investment property. So investment property, you have a tenant in the property. That tenant is paying you back on a monthly basis a rental income. So depending on how much your interest was or how much you're paying for the bond, you might be able to get a bit of income back on a monthly basis. So that is investment, right?
While you're talking,
Yes.
my mother is such a serial entrepreneur. Like, my mother would sell you yourself to yourself. Ne? That's how good she
I
is.
love her.
And at some point, she was a mashonisa in Manisha.
Yes.
What you're saying to me sounds like I'm becoming a mashonisa. And I'm borrowing someone my money to generate more money, babies.
Yes.
On my behalf.
Yes.
But in this case, it's on a more intellectual level. It's more on this economist
Yes.
or a financial advisor or an accountant. You wouldn't really understand that. Basically, I'm becoming a mashonisa. Am I correct to say this?
Technically, we can, yes. It can be argued either or, but technically, because you're earning more money than what you initially would have put through as a shonisa.
Yes.
So you borrow me 1,000 rand and I bring it back as 1,500 rand.
Yes.
So that 500 rand, basically, it's you earning a profit.
Profit, of
So
course.
definitely it is an investment because you're getting more than what you initially put through, and that's what an investment is. You should be able to get more than what you put in.
I'm very much interested in this.
Yes.
Some time ago, I had a privilege of walking into the JSA offices.
Ooh.
And when I was there, all I could think about is opportunities for young. I advocate for women because I'm a woman. I'll never be a man. I wouldn't
Yes.
understand what men truly are going through. Poor,
True.
my poor boys, shame. I would never truly understand fully what they're going
Yes.
through. But I understand more on what women are facing.
Yes.
And while I was there, I was thinking a lot about what needs to be done in this financial space to empower women financially, because I truly believe it is an instrument that can give us more opportunities, more options, more confidence
Yes.
in ourselves and also in our future and the future of our children. Most of the women are household breadwinners, and also going back into history as well, I got to understand that even our grandmothers used to be the financial managers in the house, because
True.
our fathers or our grandfathers would go to work, come back and give them a lump sum of money
Yes.
to manage the household. And
True.
they would have to think of, how do I make sure that I generate more money? How do I make sure we do not run out of the needs in the house? And also they even thought about investment through stokvels.
True.
Now, what do you think it's stopping or preventing most of us, men, women, old and young, from investing?
I would say it's the social media lifestyle. It's not easy to invest if you're trying to keep up with an appearance of social media. If you want to make sure you impress people on social media.
Keeping up with the Jones.
Yes. So that's where the problem is. It's not going to be easy. But if you disassociate yourself from the lifestyle that is happening on social media and actually live in a reality, not in a social media space, you will be more likely to be able to invest, because you're going to be in a position where you're like, I don't have money for champagne. I don't have money for champagne. I don't have money for a branding item. It can be a sneaker, it can be a bag, it can be whatever brand it is. You don't have money for it and you'd rather put it into investment.
What you're saying is quite true. And adding on to that, there was a time whereby there were this, what did we say? Hey, the
Pyramid schemes.
Where they would say if you put money here,
Yes.
you would get this amount of money. And that was the investment, introducing investment in the Black community. And a lot of our parents who were going out on pension did invest, but they got their hands bent. Because at some point they would go and the companies have vanished into thin air.
Yes.
Now, when I am trying to start investment portfolio, what are the things I need to look out for? Because I feel like this is quite a very important conversation to generate more wealth.
True.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Unfortunately, it's going to be your responsibility because you're the one who's trying to break out of poverty. Make sure that you do enough research and make sure that the company you're investing or associating yourself with is credible. And there are ways to do that. And there are platforms that are legit, that have been there for a number of years, that are credible, that you can use to invest. You know, we have investment companies that we all know of. I don't know if I can name a few. No,
Name.
naming a few. Sorry, they didn't pay for it. They are
Already
investment
mentioned one, but
companies,
no.
yes, that we
Yes.
know of, that can help you with in
You
investing
know what?
account.
On a contrary, this is
Yes.
an educational platform. I know my technical team is gonna kill me for this, but please do mention
Yes.
some.
The investment company would be your Liberty, your Sanlam, those type of companies. Those are investment companies. That's what they deal with. They have professional investors. They have professional financial advisors who know what they're doing. So those are credible. I mean, who does not know a Liberty company? Who doesn't know an Ellen Gray
Yes.
company? Those are legit companies. Or if you don't want to invest with directly with the investment companies, there are platforms out there like your apps, the brokerage apps such as JSE, such as Cetrix. Those are legit brokerage apps where you can go there and buy a couple of shares on a monthly basis or buy it on a lump sum basis. Those are legit apps that you can go and invest in, and you know your money is safe. And the most important thing about that, you get to receive your financial statements on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, or whenever there's any updates on the financial report. You can go on annually basis and get some report on what's happening with the company that you've invested in, so you know that your money is literally safe. Then with the investment company, they should be sending you an annual report on an annual basis to show you how much your money has grown on a period of 365 days or 10 months or whatever the period would be. But in most
Yes.
cases, it's 12 months where they would grow your money, put it in an investment, and generate a return for you. And then they would send you a statement so you can see how much your money is growing. So those would be the safer ways to go and invest.
It's almost as if, in order for you to really dive into this world of investment, you need to be educated. It's almost.
Almost, but not really. No, not really. I would say you can still invest even though you may not have a degree, a diploma. Just know what to look out for. You can't invest in someone who just comes now without credibility. If I come and I say to I'm an accountant, I should be able to provide qualification that proves that, and they should be
Yes.
verifiable on a website of some sort. And similar with financial advisors. If somebody says they're a financial advisor, they should be able to provide documentation that can be verified, and then you can trust that person. You don't just trust anyone, and when it comes to money,
Yes.
because there's always people who are looking for ways of making
Opportunities
easy money out
to
of
rob
other people.
us. Stop
Yes,
that, guys. How do
that's
you
true.
rob the pensioners?
Yes,
I
they have
swear.
no shame.
And
Yeah.
also, it brings out the importance of accountants.
Yes.
Then it means an accountant can be my personal accountant. If I am a pensioner and I don't know how to read this financial statements, I can always
Yes.
pay an accountant to interpret it for me in a language that I understand, in the
Yes.
simplest form that I could be able to comprehend the understanding of what is happening with my
True.
money. And also, I once went to a conference and they were talking, there was a lady, I would never forget that day. It was 2016.
Yes.
And she spoke about the simplest way to start buying shares, and she said, go into your cupboard in the kitchen,
Yes.
check what you buy every month,
Yes.
whatever toothpaste you're buying every month, whatever stuff that are of need in the house. Those are the companies that you can start investing in.
100%.
So you don't have to think way out of line to say, which company shares should I buy? And just like,
Yes.
also look at the supermarkets. Which supermarket has more people going to buy in it?
100%.
What are people consuming the most out there? Whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you
Food.
like alcohol or cigarettes, but are they being bought by a majority of people? If it is a yes, then that is a place you can start
True.
investing in. And that was a huge tip for me. And I
Yes.
started getting into the investment space. We can't avoid the fact that there's black tax.
We can't, yes.
And later on, I learned through our friend Anna, Adele Barnett about the pink tax. can we get into that? Because like some people are like, what? There's a pink tax, including myself. Like now I sound smart as if I know. No, 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 no. It was just yesterday, years ago, that I
Yes.
knew about the pink tax.
I haven't learned about the pink
Is
tax.
it?
Where have I been?
Apparently,
Yes.
now it's my turn to teach.
Please call me.
Apparently, the pink text speaks to the women, where
Yes.
it is your. Ooh, please, guys, let me say a disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know anything about finances, but I'm gonna share what I think I had on that day. And they were
Yes.
speaking about it is like our pads, the fact that you need to buy
Oh yes, the
pads,
sanitary,
makeup, what
yes.
that
The
those things are
necessities.
also part of our, they call them pink text. But please guys, go onto the website and check this pink text and Google ne cut. Let's dive into the
Happy.
black text, please.
Yes. Um,
Your understanding about the concept black text.
I don't like the term black tax per se, because black people are disadvantaged historically, for a number of reasons that we're fully aware of. And because of that, we constantly have to go back home and uplift our families, uplift our communities. And that's where the black tax term is sort of coming from. But from my perspective, it's just going back home and uplift your family members and making sure that everybody gets to be able to contribute in the economy as a whole by sending money home, or either by opening a business like you have and employ some of your some of your family
Family
members rather,
members,
yes.
yes.
And in that sense, we sort of generate an economy circular flow in the areas that
It is a
we come
community
from. Yes.
empowerment
Definitely, that's how
form.
I say it, yes.
On my way back, because I told you I just flew back from Cape Town for work.
Yes.
And in the flight, I met a very lovely lady. Her name was Tando. And we
Yes.
started talking, and I was asking her what she do, where she does, where does she stay. She's like, no, no, no.
Yes.
I come from Durban. I work in Cape Town. And she's like telling me and sharing a story on how she got employed, and
Yes.
her family, that she's from a family that has got one parent, it's only her mother, and
Yes.
she's raised together with her siblings by the background was not as favorable.
Yes.
She's more disadvantaged, and for her to
Yes.
be where she is, she's more grateful, etc. But also talking about the black tax, she started saying, I wouldn't want my siblings to suffer at all, and I started
100%.
diving into that conversation about the importance of uplifting our family members. And
Yes.
one of my comment was to say, I don't think there's anything nice about being the only one.
It's not.
Because you get depleted, you get exhausted.
Yes.
And most of all, you are not safe, because meaning that whenever you are in need, no one is there for you.
To back you
so
up,
therefore,
yes.
it is important to empower others so that they become your safe place when you are in need.
100%.
And I even said to her, well, with me, my sisters know, you will never ask me for a weave or a clothing item and stuff. You will get my black text comes from, Sisi, I want to go for an interview, I need money, I will get you that.
Yes.
Sisi, I want to do a driver's license, or I want to go study. That is how I find a black text being an investment
Yes.
in my family, and ultimately it's going to be an investment for the whole community.
100%,
So
yes.
yeah, I also take it that way.
Yes.
It's just that, whew, hey, back
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It goes back to when I said money has been a disadvantage
Yes.
to also the opportunities we could have had. Because
True.
I'm just thinking, if I had money, oh, but God knows if He gave me money. Oh, Jesus, if He trusted me with
Please,
just
I mean, that prayer,
money,
a couple of millions,
test my character.
just a couple
Let's
of
see the kind of
millions.
person I am. Talking about
Yes.
debt, right? There's good debt and there's bad debt.
Correct,
That's what
yes.
I've learned. But majority of us are in bad debt. And here I am with a family background where I need to be a breadwinner and support my siblings and uplift my family, fix my mother's house,
Yes.
so that, of course, I can have pride walking into this family to say, now this is where my mom stays.
Yes.
And having my own family right now where I'm like, I need to do stuff for me and my kids. Having a bare minimum, like your mother, who was a domestic worker who still wanted to invest. There are still domestic workers even now.
Yes.
I mean, whether we like it or not, I depend so much solely on my helper in the house. I would
Yes.
be nothing without that woman. I would die. Being here, she's there with my kids. So those are still fundamental jobs that I needed out there. It's like a skill that once one has a patience
Yes.
and the love for kids and helping others, it takes us far as a community.
Yes.
But then they want to invest. Where do I start? I've got debts, I've got responsibilities, and I'm not earning much. What's your advice to us who are in that bracket?
You know, you can buy shares as little as 250 rand a month on a monthly basis. And I
Janet,
think
250 buys
250 rand, I know.
50 kg. I'm like, yo, I went to buy maize meal the other day. 5 kg, it was 76 rand.
The
But
pricing.
you know, it can buy bread and okay, but I hear you. Okay.
Those would be the best way, especially for kids. But if that's a bit too high, we still have Ama stockfiles in the locations, which I think they're really good. Just make sure that the people you are in the stockfile with are trustworthy people, so that when it's your time to be paid back, then they make sure that they deliver.
money's available.
Yeah, so I would always advocate for that in terms of investment and shares. I mean, for young people who just started working right now, 250 rand, you know, it's a couple of six-pack nyana you
Yeah.
can sacrifice, you know,
Yeah,
and then get
six-pack
yourself,
nyana.
yes,
Yes.
get yourself those monthly
One
investment
share and-
every now and then, 250 rand a month every now and then. Before you know it, your account would have grown and you have a sizable amount of shares that one day, if you ever need, because you can use them one day to put them as a deposit for a house, you can use them to boost your business one day, you can use them to put through a deposit for school fees. It can be used in so many ways. It's up to you how you want to use it. But those would be the most affordable ones. Other than that, you can buy your life insurance covers. I think people are still not mindful that insurance can be a way of investing and make sure that one day if something happens, somebody in your entire family actually is taken care of by means of insurance, paying back the money that you would have bought a policy cover with as well. So that's another way, which is more reasonable, I would say, on a monthly basis. Yes.
While we were talking, you spoke a lot about, you also mentioned the pressure, the peer pressure of wanting to keeping up with the Jones.
With the Jones, yes.
And while we were talking, it to me, it came across as it means we're still in a society where we are not accepting of our own reality to say, you know what, SE, to my life right now and the season
Yes.
I'm in right now is not the season where Janet is.
Yes.
And what Janet can afford might not be what I need right now.
Yes.
And having to be so disciplined and grounded in your own values as well, because I think it does go hand in hand in values. Because somebody once said, "Money, it's spiritual," and yeah, I don't want to get into spirituality, but
Yes.
he said something about money, it's spiritual, and also our backgrounds play a huge role into how we start having relationship with money.
Yes.
When I had the word relationship, and another relationship is a man and a woman, a woman and a woman, a man and
But
a man.
talk-
Money and me must have a relationship. I'm like, okay, that means I can go to money and be like, money,
Yes.
I wanted this week.
Let's
I
talk.
didn't like how you spoke to me. But
Yes.
what do you think can be done, or what is it that one can do for themselves to get out of this shell where you need to impress people who don't even care about you, who would even forget about you in a second when somebody new and better comes into surface, and stay as grounded as we need to, so that we can start building wealth for ourselves and community and families that we have. Yeah.
So for me, what has always kept me grounded when it comes to financial matters and what I want, because everybody has dreams and goals. Every single one of us. There's a car you're dreaming about. There's a house you're dreaming about. There's 1, 2, and 3 you're dreaming about. It could be a vacation. It could be this and that. The moment you have a goal, I would say put it on a vision board. Put it on a vision board and find a plan that you're going to get it. And that plan of getting it, moving from plan A to B, would be a plan of sacrificing. And sacrificing would means that you're not going to have some nicer things that you normally get. It could be more entertainment, maybe. If you're used to going out every weekend, maybe it's going to be once or twice in a month rather than on a
Every
weekend.
weekend,
Yes, on a
yes.
weekly basis. If maybe you used to do your nails every weekend, you can't do your nails every weekend now. Maybe just hang in there, for like 2-3 weeks, those type of sacrifices.
Q-Tex,
Exactly.
paint
So
your own nails every day.
yes, and it could be hair, it could be whatever, that that if I sacrifice one or two of these items, I can get the next goal. And the moment you have a vision board and you have a goal on how you're going to get there, the peer pressure becomes nothing. It becomes irrelevant to you
You are
because you
able to
know,
block the
yes, you're
noise.
working towards something. You know you're working towards something. You're saving to buy your dream house. You're saving to buy your dream car. You're saving for your dream vacation. By that time, you know that I'm working towards something, and you're going to need to do a little bit of cutting here and there to be able to achieve that goal. And that's how I've been doing it. Just have a vision board, be stubborn about your vision board. Don't let your friends, trick you every now and then. Oh, so and so is in the country. Let's go buy the tickets. No, be grounded and be true to your own goals and dreams. And before you know it, you have ticked one goal and the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. And that's how you keep going.
Boom.
Boom. You look back and you're like, I've actually made it.
Talking
Actually made
about
it. Yeah.
making it. Today's
Yes.
episode is actually sponsored by Joy Beverages.
Yes.
Listen, we have their brand in the studio today. We are sponsored by that. Let's cheers to this water.
Cheers to that.
This is Joy Beverage, proudly produced and made in South Africa. The one I'm having says "Be Still," and yours says alkaline. What does it say? It's alkaline water.
Alkaline
I love this
water
one
pure.
because it reminds me of the scripture that says, "Be still and know that I am God." So do check out Joy Beverages wherever you
Sure.
are and get yourself amazing water. Water. Those that are educated says water. They
Yes.
just sound like water, guys. Janet, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and thank you so much for being willing to share yourself and what you've learned and acquired throughout the years of
Yes.
experience in the financial space with us, the ordinary people. I think this is a needed conversation, as we were speaking outside the shooting, that we need to start having a lot of money conversations because
True.
everything revolves around money. Ladies
True.
and gentlemen, this is the end of our episode 2 from The Unspoken Truth, Season 2.